Bettina Ryll from Melanoma Patient Network Europe. So I am coming from the other side of patient engagement, as we've already heard several times here. And I am actually interested in one specific aspect. You always mention the risk perception of patients and what type of risk patients would be willing to accept. So melanoma has a specific disease. It's just like the traditional survival after diagnosis. Once it's metastatic, is 6 to 9 months. So people still tend to die, very much like Ebola in that case. And so that comes with a specific risk perception and what people are willing to take and to accept. Now, you're all quite this, you're coming from payers, regulators, pharma industry, and I would like to challenge you that I think you use us as the white card. You say, oh, the patients don't want this risk, while in reality you mean we don't want the risk beside that. And I do think if we're talking about new ways to get drugs to the market, we have to come up as society, between all of us, with a strategy. How do we deal with that risk? And this is why I'm actually here. This is what I'm saying, what I want to hear from you. Because I mean, as a patient, I understand that you have a new drug on the market. We have tested it. Breakthrough therapy has, what, 200 patients, if at all? You cannot have a legal battle against a company if you see a 1 in 1,000 side effect. Patients are not so stupid not to get it. You also can't blame the regulators. So, but how do we do this as society? What are your ideas about it? We cannot continue doing, I mean, the medical community has the same problem. You just sue your doctor if something goes wrong. But we cannot have new, faster drugs with less evidence without having a proper, thought-out risk management place in established between us. So what are your thoughts on that?
So we'll ask Stephen, is the industry too risk averse? And Michelle, interested to know whether initiatives such as the IMA is part of the sort of risk sharing solution. But Stephen.
The industry and the regulator is built around managing risk. That's our current principle. I would accept your challenge, absolutely, and I think there is a very robust patient movement raising just the issues you're raising. Recently there was the HALPN protocol being adopted in the UK. You've got the SARCHI bill going through. There is a level of debate that I think is shifting very clearly. And only this morning there was someone actually could walk again after something was implanted, some sort of stem cell thing went on. I'm not a scientist, this is obvious. But there is a need to fully engage with patients. You can only do that. You can't do that just by broadcasting out to them. You have to listen to their concerns. Each disease has a different profile. Melanoma has a different profile to other types of cancers. Therefore, the risk-benefit needs to be evaluated in that context. The Ebola thing, I think, is a bit of a red herring, to be honest, Andrew. I think it's clearly an epidemic that has broken out, and we need an epidemic-type response. It's different to other types of diseases. But I would say, I agree with you absolutely. You can't do this without patient engagement. How we do that, I think, is determined by the patient representatives themselves. This needs to be an open process.
Michelle.
Yeah, perhaps two comments. When you mentioned that patients might be used as alibi for decision, I think this is really changing. You know, I'm not from industry, I'm not from the regulatory world, but I observe what is going. This is really changing. And when you look, for example, and when you hear how the regulators speak nowadays about these questions, about uncertainty, I don't think that 5 years ago we would have heard the same type of statements. So it's changing, the movement is ongoing, probably it has to be accelerated, but I think that things are changing. The other comment I would like to make, because we are talking about patients, and I would say what means patient-centric and all these things, and you know, patient vision, patient empowerment. And I think that there we should become more specific. Are there patients suffering in their body for disease? Are there patient advocates? Are there patient representatives? Are there caregivers? I think that when we talk about patients, I always say patients and caregivers. Because when you suffer for such a disease, I'm not sure that you as an individual can indeed assess the right way, even the risk and benefit. You just want to be cured. You don't want to see the risk, right? And you know, you can give opinion which relate to your own perception, whether what you will say will be of value for the patient community at large. This is debatable. I don't know. I just think that we should invest more, and I know that you are doing it, by the way, on all these questions. They are not that easy.
I would add to that also the role of the healthcare professional is fundamental,
Yeah.
because there is inherent conservatism and minimising of risk there too.
I agree.